If you've ever left an interview thinking, "Ugh, did I say the wrong thing? Why didn't they call me back?" This episode is for you. Welcome back to Clocked In, the official podcast by Just in Time Staffing, where we talk real work, real hiring, and real career advice from the people who live it every day. I'm your host, Alyiah, and whether you're a job seeker getting ready for your next interview or a client wanting to understand what happens behind the recruiter's desk, you're in the right place. For our very first episode, we're kicking things off with something everyone has experienced at least once: the interview. What to do, what not to do, and how to stand out in a competitive job market. And we couldn't have picked a better guest to break it all down. Today, I'm sitting down with Mackenzie, who is the head recruiter and account manager on one of our largest clients for over 7 years. Mackenzie has interviewed hundreds of candidates, placed countless employees, and works directly with hiring managers every single day. She's seen the good, the bad, and the "how did this even happen" parts of interviews. So if you've ever wondered why you didn't get the call back, what recruiters really care about, or how to instantly improve your interview game, this episode is for you. Okay. Mackenzie, welcome to Clocked In.
Thank you for having me, the first guest of the JIT podcast.
I know, very exciting for us. All right, to get us started, can you tell everyone a little bit about your role and what your day-to-day looks like and as account manager and head recruiter?
Absolutely. So no 2 days are the same. I've been with Just in Time Staffing. This will be my 8th year. I'm the account manager of our largest client. So the day-to-day really comes in. I check in with my team. We set our staffing priorities for Northeast Ohio. We set our staffing priorities for our largest client, and then we get working, trying to find candidates that fit the positions that we have available.
Busy bees. So, question for you. How many interviews would you say you've done over the past almost 8 years?
Thousands, hundreds of the same interviews, the thousands of candidates that we see day in and day out. I would say it's been a wild ride, but we've seen some pretty great people throughout that time.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. First impressions matter a lot. From your perspective, what's the very first thing you notice when a candidate walks into an interview?
That's a tough question. I think confidence. I think that there's definitely that middle ground of confidence that you should have walking into an interview, because essentially you're selling yourself. But we've also seen those candidates that oversell themselves. They're overly confident and they're not really secure in the roles that they've been in. But confidence is one of the first things that I notice.
Yeah, for sure. To kind of spin off of that, in terms of body language or punctuality or attitude, do you have any tips for those?
Yes, always dress for the job you want. Even in manufacturing, I think it's extremely important to come to an interview where you present yourself, because first impressions, you only get one of them. And know what you've done. You are essentially selling your skill set. Have your resume remembered. Remember the companies you worked for, whether it's one agency has placed you at X, Y, and Z. Make sure you know the details to those, because that's what's going to set you apart if you've had 5 jobs in 3 years or 1 job in 5 years, is knowing the difference and the reasons of why you left. And maybe each chance was for an opportunity to grow, or it just didn't work out. But it's going to be pretty great to hear the confidence in you have and why you've changed those roles, instead of, I don't know, just wasn't for me. I don't know.
Right.
We get that answer a lot too.
For sure. Okay, great answers. In your opinion, what separates a candidate who's prepared from one who clearly isn't?
A resume. Today, it is so challenging when candidates don't come in with resumes. It's so easy to have one. You don't have to know how to format it. If you type your last 5 positions in the body of an email and copy and paste it into ChatGPT, they do all the hard work for you. And they'll even tailor it to kind of which positions you're going for, what you've done in the past. So I would say always be prepared with a resume or some sort of write-up of your past work experience.
Yes, and we will help you with your resume too. Let us know, and we're happy to help. Okay. Is there something simple candidates can do beforehand that makes a huge difference outside of the resume?
That's a good question. Other than know the positions that you're applying for, I don't think so because our role is to help you find the right fit, but it's mainly to help our clients find the right candidates for those roles. So even if you applied for a particular position, know which role you applied for. I mean, we see so many candidates that will call through from our sourcing platforms and we'll say, "Hey, you applied for this job." And they're like, "Where was that again?" It's like just know
Yeah.
what you're applying for and maybe write it down in the notes section of your phone or again, just be prepared.
Okay, a lot of people get really nervous in interviews. From a recruiter's perspective, how can candidates manage nerves without coming across as unsure or unconfident?
Prepare. Prepare to Google just quick interview answers or questions that are typically asked. But then again, just know that interviewers are sometimes nervous too. I mean, you never know when someone is conducting their first interview at times. So I
Yeah.
think everyone grows and learns together. So just know that you're probably not the only one nervous. You just might be a little bit more nervous than the other person.
What are the top two questions that you ask, you would say, in every interview?
What does your attendance look like in a rolling calendar year? So I want to know how many days you miss, whether it's a monthly basis, if I'm seeing a little common denominator of, oh, I only missed a couple days in the summer for warmer weather. So yeah, I really dive into candidates' attendance because that's one of the most important aspects of all the positions that we recruit for. And then longevity. Like, I want to know if there's any gaps in your resumes. Like, that's probably one of the one out of the first five things that I'll notice, and I'll dive into all those.
Okay, let's talk about the other side. So, what are the most common interview mistakes you see candidates make? Whether it's talking too much or talking too little, bad mouthing past employers, not asking questions after the interview.
Being on their phone. I can't tell you
Mhm.
how many times a candidate sits down in our office and doesn't give us their full attention. I'm not asking for everything. I mean, all the attention at once, but if you have something going on, just let us know. We can be super flexible, but a lot of the times we'll have candidates come in and they'll just be like this and answering questions. It's awkward.
Yeah.
It's awkward.
For sure. Definitely want to make eye contact in interviews. Okay. Is there one interview mistake that candidates think is no big deal, but is actually a huge red flag for recruiters?
I think it would go back to bad mouthing past employers. I think if someone is terminated, there's two sides to every story, and the more information you give and the more negative it is, it's definitely a red flag for us.
Yeah, for sure. Even if you had a bad experience, you can word things much differently. Okay. When you think about candidates who really stand out, what do they do differently? I know you touched on confidence and having a resume, but is there anything that you could think of that kind of sets people apart?
Punctuality and then dressing for the interview. I mean, we're of course not expecting people to show up in suits and ties, but having closed-toed shoes in case you're put on a production floor for an immediate interview or jeans and a t-shirt or a nice shirt, like those little changes go a long way in an interview.
Yeah, for sure. Very small things you can tweak that'll really make you stand out. Would you say, is it more about the skills or more about attitude and reliability?
Certainly attitude and reliability. I think a lot of the clients that we deal with, they'll take attitude and reliability over skill set any day because if you have the right person, you can train and develop them. Someone who wants to be there and has the good motivation and attendance, I mean, we can do wonders with that person. But somebody who has the experience, who doesn't show up, I mean, you're really not winning in that situation.
For sure. So show up with a smile and the rest we can change. Okay. What are some good questions candidates should be asking at the end of the interview?
It always goes to show someone who really cares by asking about benefits. Everything we do is with the intent for all of our candidates to go permanent down the line. So you have your temp assignment, which is typically a duration of 90 days, and then we want you to get hired in just like all of our clients. If someone comes in and they ask about benefits and longevity and the retirement, that typically says they're here for the long run. And though that information is definitely important for whichever role that you decide to pursue, because you're looking, like I said, at the long run.
Right. For sure. By the way, our clients have really good benefits. After an interview ends, what happens behind the scenes that candidates don't usually realize?
Yeah, sometimes, just like I mentioned earlier, the resumes, we'll make tweaks to the resumes, just adding more detail about the different roles that you've previously worked. Because the more detail in a resume, it says that you've really came prepared for any interview. But then there's the submittal process, so sending to the clients, waiting on feedback, coordinating the interview, making sure your schedule is open, their schedule is open, getting you all the details you need to go on site. And then after that, if all goes well, we do the drug tests, the background checks, everything that you need to really be set up for success to start your first day.
If you could give one piece of advice to every job seeker before they walk into an interview, what would it be? I know we touched on a lot of things, but highlight your most important thing that you would say.
Know your past work experience. Again, I mean, a lot of people come in and say, "Where was the last job you worked?" I don't know. It's like,
Yeah.
you just worked there.
Right.
You woke up, you went there every day. What do you
Right.
mean? What did you do? No, but know what you've done, know the machines that you've worked on, if you ran a machine, or the different skill sets you have. I mean, that's gonna, I know it sounds crazy to say that, but you guys would all be surprised at how many people don't know the specific companies that they've been at, especially if they've worked through an agency. So just know yourself and what you've done.
All right. Is there anything you wish more candidates understood about recruiters in the hiring process?
It's not as quick as everyone wants it to be, but we do try to be as quick as possible because we want all of our candidates to find their home in their career. And we'll do anything we can to help them in that process.
Right. Well, Mackenzie, thank you so much for sharing all of your insights. And this episode was packed with value, and I'm sure everyone will have some good takeaways. So yeah.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here and be the first participant and clocked in.
If you're listening and preparing for an interview, remember this: recruiters want you to succeed. Showing up prepared, professional, and authentic can truly set you apart. If you enjoyed this episode of Clocked In and got some useful tips, be sure to follow us, subscribe, and share it with someone who's currently job seeking. And if you're looking for your next opportunity, or a staffing partner who truly understands your business, Just in Time Staffing has you covered. Until next time, you're officially clocked